My wife, a while ago, asked me, can you explain men? You're looking at it. I have 2 sons, and every so often, Abby will turn into a 10-year-old girl and go, I'm surrounded by boys! I'm surrounded by stupid, smelly boys! And I can't really say she's wrong. She said, can you explain men? Like, there are some people you don't talk to, and then they show up, and you act like you've been speaking to them daily for the next 10 years, and you won't see them for 3 years, and you'll see them at random. We'll be in Toronto, and you'll run into them in the street, and you'll have a conversation like you've known them forever. And they said, well, you kind of do that. In my limited experience, most friendships between men is you are willing to do a favor for somebody if they ask. And the key is you're not supposed to ask. It's weird. I always remember very small things. I knew a guy who ran a restaurant, and every so often he would give me a free dinner if I performed there, or he'd give me a free beer. And in terms of money, it wasn't a lot, but he didn't have to do it. And making that gesture goes a long way. A lot of the people I remember, I knew a guy who worked in a jewelry store. He repaired a watch for me. He could have charged me anything he wanted. He didn't. So he's got a special place in my heart for doing that. If he called me at 2 in the morning and asked for a favor, I'd probably do it. I might complain about it, but it's like it's been earned. It's like a contract. If you have friends like that, you hold on to them. So some people may understand why I did what I did in this story. And this happened around 2 years ago here in Hamilton. At around 10 in the morning, I'm on the computer. It's a Sunday morning. I've got coffee. I'm on Facebook looking, see if anyone's leaving interesting messages. And I get a message from Dale. Dale is in Toronto. Dale is a graphic artist, and he's got 2 kids, and we've known each other for around 20, 25 years. I hadn't talked to him for a while, but I get this Facebook message saying, Michael, I need a favor. And I knew what was going to come out of it from the tone of his voice that I didn't hear. Like I'm staring at a text window on Facebook. I type back, anything, what do you need? And he said, I need you to go to A&W and deliver a burger and a root beer to Juravinsky Hospital. I haven't talked to him for 2 months or so. I have no idea what this is about, but from that text window, I have pieced together, he knows someone in hospital, and this is some kind of a gesture that he can't do on short notice. So this is not just a favor, it's a holy order, sort of. And I don't mind doing it. The thing that I find difficult to describe is the gravity of that message. Because it was very little. If I had said, I can't because I'm taking the kids to the park or something like that, he would have said, no problem, and it would have been over. But I know him well enough to know that that was an important thing to do. And I think he knows me well enough that I would pick up on that. So I said, okay, tell me what floor, in what room, and let me go online. And it's 10 in the morning, and I'm online. Okay, there is an A&W. I can drive there. It'll take me 15 minutes, and then I can get to Juravinsky. And I finally said, okay, I can get all this done by 11:30. Who am I seeing? And he gave me the names, a guy named Steve. With no further details, he said, can you simply, at around 11:30, you're going to go to the 7th floor on the west wing. You just tell them that you're dropping something off for Steve. And when you see him, you say, this is a special delivery from Dale in Toronto. You'll probably have to put on a mask. Okay. And I'm putting it together. The guys in Juravinsky, the pandemic was just beginning to lift at that point. I'm going to be wearing a mask because the guy's immunocompromised. I'm still there. And my kids are running around behind me, and Abby comes in and goes, what are we doing today? And I said, I will explain this later. I'm doing a delivery for Dale. And she kind of laughed and said, what's he? And then saw the look on my face and said, okay. Because there's a gravity. And I don't know where the gravity comes from, but it was there. So I did this. I got dressed. I waited till 11 o'clock when they start serving burgers. I bought a burger and a root beer, and I threw in some fries for the hell of it. Drove to Juravinsky Hospital, found some place to park, walked in carefully and said, I need to deliver something to the 7th floor. And they said, okay, that's the cancer ward. Do they know you're coming? And I said, no, I have been asked to deliver something to Steve. They looked up the name and they said, okay, we think he's awake. And I'm not sure what I'm walking into. But it's sort of anticlimactic, because I did walk into a room and I was asked to put on a mask, and walked into a room where there's a guy wearing a wool cap, I'm guessing because he's lost his hair to chemotherapy, who's sitting with a woman who I'm assuming he is married to, or I'm not sure. And they both looked at me baffled. And I said, hi, I'm only here for a moment. And he started saying, who are you? And I said, this is from Dale in Toronto with his compliments. And the look in his face went from, oh, for God, really? Really? And I could feel the weight. I mean, this is probably an inside joke between the two of them. And I've never met the guy in the hospital, but there is a significance to that act. And I said, here you go. And no, I was asked very politely, so I figured, I live in Hamilton. I talked to him for a minute and a half and said, literally, I live 10 minutes away, and, enjoy. And both he and the woman there, reached for their wallets and said, what do we? I said, no, nothing. You owe me absolutely nothing. Don't worry about it. All the best. And walked out. I went home, went back into Facebook and said, it has been done. And he said, thank you. And there's a weight there again, which is impossible to explain, because you've got THANKYOU, 8 letters, on a flat screen, and something was accomplished. As it happens, this gentleman had been treated for a couple of months, and he had passed away a couple months later. I do remember talking to Dale about it at one point. He mentioned that he had a friend from university, and he said, he's not doing well. I'm going to come up to Hamilton and shake his hand. And apparently he made it longer than that. So I sort of, on some subliminal level, knew what was happening. But I also felt the need, only through a few words. And I think maybe I did the right thing. I still see Dale. He comes to Hamilton occasionally. He has not let me pay for a drink in the time this has happened. He's always treating me to things. And he does not have to. But I know why he's doing it. And if you're lucky, you have friends, and whether it's someone you see every month or every day or every 5 years, you will have a collection of people that on some level I could call them at 2 a.m. for a favor, and they might bitch at you about it, but they would do it automatically because you have earned something. And I'm fortunate enough I've built that with some people I've known for 6 months. Or I've built it from people I didn't talk to 10 years ago, but something happened and we found ourselves in the same level. So Damon's point about friendship, it's rare. I always tell people I count on one hand the number of people I really trust. And at one point I could have counted on 3 fingers the number of people I really trust. Maybe by the time I die I'll be able to count both hands and 2 feet. Just hold on to it. Anybody here, if you're lucky enough to have that in your life, it's ethereal. Don't let it go. Okay? Thank you for your time.